Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to our respected lecturers, Madam Zafira. And so today our group is going to present our task 1 on our continuous assessment, which is performance or presentation. Okay, so without further ado, this is our team. I am Alif Zahir.
I am Dalia Kristina.
And I am Nofara.
Our team today will be presenting situational, cultural and interpersonal. So let's first watch our video.
Alright, listen up! I need everyone's attention. I'm Detective Carter. This is Inspector Lee. We need to see Suyon's locker right now.
No one's allowed in the back without the master's permission.
Maybe you didn't hear me. We need to see that locker.
I'm sorry. Wait, Carter.
Lee, I got this. Hey, kids, listen. Violence will solve nothing. Yeah, as the Chinese say, all great battles are won without fighting.
Sorry.
Okay?
I don't know you.
Now let's just come out with this. Okay. You try talking. Oh, now I'm about to beat the puberty out of you. You ain't gonna see it coming. You ain't gonna see it coming. Come on. Woo! Running for your lives. But tell me I'll show some respect around here. Huh?
Carter, wait for the master.
Whoa! Damn! I'm sorry, man. I thought this was the bathroom door. Lee, I got a big problem, man. This boy's on steroids. He got a head like Barry Bonds. Now, come on, man.
Carter, are you okay?
Lee, get him, Lee! Lee, let's get the hell out of here! My Oh man, let me go. I love Chinese people.
Wait, are you?
How do you say surrender in Chinese? Okay, I'm about to slice you up like a giant California roll.
Oh, you're black of that.
May I help you?
We'll be asking the questions, old man. Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I'm you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
You just said what?
I did not say what. I said you.
That's what I'm asking you.
And you is answering.
Shut up. You.
Yes,
Not you, him. What's your name?
me.
Yes, you.
I am me. This me. And I'm you.
And I'm about to whoop your old ass, man, because I'm sick of playing games. You, me, everybody's ass around here. Him, I'm gonna kick his ass. I'm sick of that. Lee, no, Lee, no.
So that is our group clip that we have chosen. Okay, so I would first give a brief introduction about the movie. The movie that we chose for our assessment is the movie Rush Hour 3 that is released in 2007. The movie's genre is comedy and action. As you can see there are a lot of fighting and humorous exchange between the giant Chinese person and the African detective, the African American detective, which is played by Chris Tucker. And the movie contains many different cultural backgrounds such as Chinese, American and French. The movie also features some slangs and how English is used by different backgrounds, like in the scene where Chris Tucker, where he mentioned that his shoes has been stomped by the giant person. He said it's not his shoe but his bounces. Okay. So without further ado, I will go to the situational context. So the first situational context, which is the setting. The scene takes place during an interrogation or confrontation where Carter and Lee question two men from the Chinese tribe with similar sounding names, you and me. So as you can see, the person that is mainly asking question, but in a confusing manner, which is Chris Tucker or Carter, they want to ask question and interrogate about them, but it came with a confusing environment because the Carter cannot what you call differentiate between the names or the pronouns. Okay, so the main participants are Detective James Carter, which is played by Chris Tucker, Chief Inspector Lee, which is Jackie Chan, and the two men named you and me. So at the end of the scene, we can see that four of those people are trying to communicate but cannot get to be on the same page. And for the time, it occurs during the investigation in Paris as they follow leads related to the Triad conspiracy. So the time is there are a lot of backstories going on in this movie before the scene, where, for example, they managed to get information from a Frenchman where they interrogate him at the hospital, and it follows all the stories to create what you call a long story, which in long story short, they come to this Chinese martial art place, and they try to get more information about the Chinese triads. So the dialogue centers on Carter's frustration trying to identify and understand the names of the suspect, which is you and me, of course. And the Carter demands answer, but the suspect responds with wordplay on their names, creating a confusing and humorous exchange. So if you see that the topic is trying to get, first of all, they are trying to get names, but Detective Carter cannot differentiate between their names and their pronouns, because you and me is our Chinese name but are similar to the English pronouns, which is you and me. They are different in spelling but pronounced the same. Okay, so for the purpose is to extract clear identities and information from the suspect, while Carter expresses growing irritation of the evasive, confusing answers. So maybe the you and me character are not trying to make confusing answers because they are Chinese people, and maybe the English language is not the first language, rather than being Chinese as the first language. So this creates a confusing situation because Carter is a main English speaker, and maybe Carter is not very well diverse in Chinese culture. So here are the evidence from the dialogues. Carter, which starts with Carter, will be asking the question, old man, who are you? And you swiftly responds with you. And this creates confusion because in English, to say our name clearer, we say like my name is you. So that's we create a more clarifying information because his name, he said that his name is you. Then maybe Carter are confused because maybe that you is trying to ask Carter first, like you, like question mark, and Carter respond with no, not me, but you, and you also responds with the same, yes, I am you. But at this point, Carter is very confusing and cannot clarify the information correctly. He answered with just answer the question, who are you? So you have told again, I have told you, but at this time he does not the word why and you. Instead, he used the English spelling you, Y-O-U, and Carter ask again to you that are you deaf? Just like you want to ask again about the question, trying to make fun of him purposely, but you answer again that you is blind. Okay, so in this can see we can see that you is using not proper grammar, or because they are trying to give simple answers, but it lacks information in their conversation. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the presentation to Dahlia, which is going to explain cultural context analysis.
Okay, so moving to the cultural context analysis. So, but before that, I would like to tell you what exactly cultural context analysis. So, in social linguistics, cultural context refer to the shared belief, norms, and also expectation that influence how language is being said. So, based on the research that been done by Holmes in 2013, it reminds us that people do not just speak words. Instead, they actually speak from within where they are from, where the culture they are coming from. So, in this scene from Rush Hour, we can clearly start to see how cultural differences, especially in naming, politeness, and also humor, can shape the communication between all the characters. So first of all, we will look at the naming convention, where I would like to focus on the U with the spelling of YU, and also U with the spelling of YOU. So in this situation, YU is a common in Chinese culture because it represents the Chinese surname. But on the other hand, in the English or Western culture, the pronunciation of U is represent a pronoun which is with the spelling of YOU. So this, when it comes to the scene where Carter asks the Chinese man, "Who are you?" and the Chinese man answers with U with the spelling of YU to actually explain his name is you. But then the Carter got confused because he is coming from a Western culture, so he didn't know that the Chinese use that kind of surname. So it's giving like he asked the Chinese man again, "No, not me, you." And the Chinese man answered, "Yes, I am you," because he is indeed trying to explain to Carter that his name is you. But it get confused because one person, which is Carter, think that you is a pronoun which is common in Western culture. But for the Chinese man, he understands you with the spelling of YU is a surname which is common in Chinese culture. So that is for the first one. So moving to the second one, which is self-introduction norms. So different culture, they practice different cultural norms. So in Hofstede cultural dimension theory, it gives an explanation on individualism and versus collectivism. So the individualism versus collectivism. dimension consider the degree to which societies are integrated in groups and their perceived obligation and dependency on groups. So in individualistic society, the emphasis lies on the personal achievement and rights, which prioritize the needs of oneself, of one identity. You know, it just focus on that one particular person. That's why the name is individualism. But when we look at the collectivism, it indicates that there is a greater importance placed on the goals and well-being of the group. So it represents a group, not just a particular individual. So a person's self-image in this category is defined as we, not I. And the individuals from the collectivist background often prioritize relationship, loyalty, and more prominent than those in individualistic cultures. So in this scene or in this clip that we have chosen, the individualism has been practiced by Carter, which is coming from Western culture. So therefore, he identified himself as I. When we look at the question again, the question that he asked you, the Chinese man, who are you? And the Chinese man answered, why you, with which is actually his surname. So actually that here, Carter get confused because in his culture, when you want to answer a question of who are you, you will actually say like, my name is with a full name or like first name. So when he answer with you, it gets a confusing situation between both of them. For the collectivism, which is more commonly in China or East Asia, so in this situation or in this clip, it represents the youth, which is the Chinese man, where he identified himself as a we. Where when it comes to introduction or when to answer the question of who are you, he just tell the person that asking him, or in this situation, Carter asking him, so he told Carter, his name is you, without the sentence, the complete sentence. So this is actually a common in Chinese culture because they just actually when people ask them what is his name or who are you and something, they just answer the same name because that is something that really normal and normal in their culture. So now we will moving to the fourth point, which is politeness and rudeness. So in Chinese culture, it is practiced indirectness and face saving. So face saving strategies where they avoid open communication because they practice politeness to compare with the Western culture. So in the American or Western culture, they practice directness to signal confidence, but at the same time, their words or their directness can seem a bit rude. For example, like Carter direct speech in this situation, when the Chinese man was talking, he just directly said shut up, like to shut him off because he don't really understand what the man is talking about. So this actually the praise of shut up actually show how rude the Western culture is. But maybe from their perspective, it is normal to use that kind of word. But in Chinese culture, it is very rude because they practice a more polite communication. So this is another example, which is his sentence is, I'm about to whoop your old man because I'm sick of playing games. So this kind of words is actually very rude. But maybe it's something that is common in their culture. That's why it's giving a very tense situation to the Chinese man or you. So I also did some research, and a research by Puput Handriani in 2025 mentioned that politeness is not the same everywhere. It differs greatly among culture. So this actually strengthened the fact that for example, like in one particular culture, maybe when we talk about like this, like shut up, it seems like normal because that's how she was raised, like that's their culture. But on the other culture, it's very rude because they don't really practice that in their home or when they are growing up. So it show how so they understand that kind of shut up praise like a rude things. Okay, moving to the last point, which is humor and wordplay. So humor arises from linguistic and misunderstanding, which is you with the pronunciation of you, which is the pronoun, and you with the spelling of you, which is the name of the Chinese man, and also me, which is the me, and also me with mi, which is the name of the Chinese man. So this actually show importance of language, identity, and pronunciation in cross-cultural context. This kind of situation actually can lead to miscommunication, which can reflect both phonological differences and cultural interpretation of names. So, for example, like in this situation, Detective Carter actually asked the man, "Who are you?" And the man answered, "I am me." And he asked again, "Yes, you." And then he answered again, "I am me," because me, mi, is his name. So, but the Detective Carter got confused and about to get mad because of that misunderstanding. So this actually create a humorous situation between both between all the characters and also the audience. So on the other hand, continue with the scene of he is me and I am you, which is the Chinese man, try to explain, but it's actually just add more confusion to Carter. So therefore, this reinforces how language shape belongings and misunderstanding, because one culture because each culture have differences. So if that one particular culture practice that kind of thing, that doesn't mean that the other culture practice the same thing or understand the same thing. Therefore, it create a confusion situation, just like in the scene. So now I will pass our presentation to Farah.
Okay, moving on. We are going to talk about the interpersonal context analysis from this movie, which is Rush Hour. So the first one is relationship between the speaker. As we know, there is two main characters, which is Detective James Carter and also Detective Lee. Okay, we know that they both have a different background, which is that Detective James Carter is from American and Detective Lee is from China. So they use lots of different tone. Like Detective Carter always use exaggerate tone, he always play around and use lots of humor. But Detective Lee, he always go straight, reflecting his background that he from China. So the relationship between them is they are a close partner, but also cultural and language that have cultural and language differences. So the bond is professional, but also personal friends. So as an evidence, Carter jokingly twists Lee's word you, me, him in confusion notes, in confusion tone, showing the comfort and informality in their friendship. So if they are not close to each other, they will not turn his word into a joke. Okay, moving on, the next one is tone. The tone that they use here is playful, humorous, and informal, that is not serious or professional. Like Carter always use exaggerate speech and also repetition for the comic effect to turn things into a humor, while Lee respond it more directly without beating around the bush. So as an example, the constant you, me, and him misunderstanding show light-hearted teasing rather than conflict. It is a confusing statement and also will create a misunderstanding, but it turns into a joke rather than a conflict. Okay, the next one is formality level. This dialogue is highly informal. It is because they are not in the professional setting like in the police office or in the court. They are talking casually in the public. So they use short, simple sentence instead of polite and formal structure. So they don't use formal structured grammar. They just use as an example here they use he can use do you mean I should go with him, but he he just use you, me and him, like very short and simple, but they both understand. Okay, moving on. The last one is politeness strategy. The politeness is shown through humor and tolerance of misunderstanding instead of the strict manners that they can use. They just use humor and tolerance. Like the detective kata can be mad because he didn't understand, but he just play around and turn out the statement into a humor. And Detective Lee also asked directly that makes things funnier instead of being mad or showing his confusion. So Carter does not get angry when confused and play along, showing rapport. Lee also try clarify but stay impatient. The impact on the communication, like this misunderstanding is funny because both characters interpret language differently due to accent, pronunciation, and also cultural expression. So their friendship allows them to allow this communication turn into a joke, into a humor, instead of creating a new conflict. So this shows tone in relationship and informality shape meaning in English uses.
Okay. So my conclusion in the situational part is, in situational context, it helps to identify time, setting, participants, topic and purpose to interpret meaning accurately and avoid misunderstanding, and this can greatly impact new language learners to understand about a certain situation, because most of the time language learners cannot really understand something that is indirect or something that involves sarcasm. So for the next conclusion about the cultural part, I will pass now to Nadia.
Okay, so for the cultural part, we just concluded with 3 main points, which is the self-introduction, where Western more practice individualism and the Chinese people practice collectivism. So for the second point, which is politeness, where Carter is direct and rude. On the other hand, it clashes with how Chinese people is, how polite they are. And for the third one, which is humor, in terms of you, me, and all, it actually shows cultural wordplay and misunderstanding that create a humorous situation. So I'm passing down to Farah.
Thank you, Daniel. So in the interpersonal context, the friendship creates turn misunderstanding into a humor that shows how tone and relationship shape meaning. So if they are not close to each other, they won't turn the phrases into a joke because it is rude. So
overall, the scene show how situation, culture, and also relationship or interpersonal shape meaning in cross-cultural communication. So I think that is. I'm sorry. Okay. We're moving to the next slide, which is the reference. So this is the reference that we use to do the research for our slides.